What's good, all my trader and investor homies? The stock market has been the wild, wild west over the last week or so. Stocks like GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, they have made monster moves. We've seen short squeezes of epic proportions. They have gone to the moon. So I've done a little digging, I've done a little due diligence, and I've ran my scans, and I've honed in on my top couple of stocks that are primed and ready to make the next leg up. These are my top stocks that could squeeze in the next couple of weeks. These could be the next stocks to make a GameStop style move. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. And everybody do me a huge favor and go down there and like the button. We all saw what happened with GameStop stock. It went to the moon and short sellers got squeezed. Short squeezes are nothing new. There is an imbalance to the short side. The percentage of float short is too high, and then traders come in and buy the stock for whatever reason. If they think the fundamentals are improving, the stock is undervalued, it doesn't matter what the reason is. The only thing that matters, if you can find a weakness in a stock that is heavily shorted and attack it, it can make extremely parabolic moves to the upside, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. A couple of stocks that I think have that kind of potential. Let's get it. Before we get started, guys, check out the link in the description for Webull, where you can get 4 free stocks valued up to $3,700. That is free money. Check it out. Also, check out the link in the description for the 2-week risk-free trial to the private Discord chat, where you get my buy and sell orders in real time. We were the first ones talking about KOSS under $4 a share. We were the first ones talking about Pola, 400% move. We caught a trade in AMC the other day at $4.50. It ran up to $24 a share. 2-week free trial. Check it out. All right, guys, to understand what stock's going to pop off next, we first need to understand what happened with GameStop, what happened with AMC, and then we can paint the picture of what needs to happen in order for a stock to make this type of move. So GameStop is experiencing a short squeeze of epic proportions, and what caused this short squeeze was guys betting on GameStop to go out of business right here, right here, right here. They're basically saying we're going to load up on as much shorts, aka a bet on the stock to go down, as possible, as we think GameStop is going out of business. They kept getting short until the entire float, or every share available in the stock, was sold short in this area here, under $20 a share. Then the fundamentals changed. That was a key aspect of this GameStop trade. The fundamentals changed. The company hired that dude from Chewy to be a part of the company. They made a deal with Microsoft in order to start distributing games via online distribution, which changed the company's business models, and the fundamentals changed. Wall Street Bets started doing whatever they did. They started buying out of the money call options. When you buy out of the money call options, the big banks, they don't want to lose money. They're the ones selling those options, the big bank. And when people start scooping them up left and right, the big banks are going to hedge. In order to hedge, they started buying up GameStop shares in order to protect themselves from downside risk from the call options that they sold. So they started buying like crazy in this position. There's also, every single share is sold short. Big banks are trying to buy, to hedge. So we have a buying frenzy. Boom, all the way up. Buy, buy, buy. Then the short sellers start to cover. And it just created this squeeze from under 20 all the way up to almost $400 per share. Also, we had the same thing happen in AMC stock. AMC currently has a short position of 36, almost 37% of the float is sold short in AMC. So as traders started to attack GameStop, they thought, which one is going to be the next one to take off? AMC's got a really high short interest. It's a company that people are expecting to go out of business. And what happened? People started buying out of the money calls. The big banks hedged. The shorts got blown out. And the rest is history. We called this out at $4.50 yesterday, and before after hours closed, it ran up to over $20 a share. First, let's talk about what stocks it's not going to be. what stocks are not going to squeeze. I've been hearing a lot of talk about Nokia being the next stock to squeeze, and that is not going to happen. And I'm not saying Nokia is a bad investment. Sure, it could be a great long-term investment, but I'll tell you why Nokia is not going to make a short squeeze like we saw in GameStop or AMC, and that's because nobody is short Nokia. Only less than 1% of the float is sold short. That's not enough. There's not going to be enough buying pressure in this stock to result in a move up to $8-9 per share. There's just not. We're not going to see a parabolic squeeze like this. You're just not going to see that squeeze. It may chop around and work its way up to $9 per share, but we're not going to see that parabolic short squeeze like we saw in GameStop, like we saw in AMC, and we saw somewhat in BlackBerry. BlackBerry made a really nice move as well from the $6 all the way up to $24 per share, but the BlackBerry stock, in my opinion, is going to start winding down as well, as less than 10% of the float is sold short. Less than 10% is not a very high short interest. Another one that we saw was COS. We traded this short squeeze before GameStop started popping off because I saw the fundamentals changing. That's the key that we're looking for, is the very high short interest. COS had a short interest of 44% or 43%. And the fundamentals were changing. Why were the fundamentals changing? This is a headphones company. They make a headset. And I realized that the revenue numbers were probably going to look really good because people are working from home. They're going to want to level up their audio and buy those headsets to do Zoom calls and telecommuting. So COS started squeezing. The shorts had to cover, and the rest is history. So let's talk about what's next. What are going to be the next stocks to have a huge squeeze? Candidate number one is going to be AYRO, Arrow Inc. Now, this is a smaller cap company. This is an EV stock. So we're looking for two things. We're looking for high short interest, at least 20% or higher. Number two, we're looking for a change in the fundamentals. So I think we're going to have both of those things here. Number one is already met. We have a short interest in Arrow. We have 33% of the float sold short. So what is going to be the change in the fundamentals? I think we're going to have bills passed in Congress giving subsidies to EV companies and solar companies, giving them tax breaks, that type of thing. Nancy Pelosi has already hinted on it, and I think we see that come through sooner rather than later. So if that does happen and the entire EV sector gets a boost, AYRO can make a 100, 150, 200% squeeze as those short sellers get squeezed out of their position. Candidate number two is going to be Fubo, ticker FUBO, Fubo TV. This is an online TV streaming service with a percentage of float short of 65%. So 65 out of 100 shares in this stock are sold short right now. The potential is ripe for a massive short squeeze. So we have aspect number one already taken care of. The percentage of float short is high. Fundamentals changing. They just got involved in online sports betting, which is going to be a huge industry, and it's going to take off. So if we can hold this $40 level here in Fubo, I think this thing, if it starts pulling back, holding that $40 level, we can break through those prior all-time highs up near $64 per share, and this thing could really, really get going as those short sellers stop out of their position. I think Fubo is probably the stock that can make the biggest move. This thing could really, really squeeze if it gets going. And finally, we have Mara. This is a Bitcoin mining company with a short interest to over 20%. So if it starts taking off, then we could see this thing really get moving. So we have the high short interest. The fundamentals are going to be an increase in Bitcoin's price. We've seen Bitcoin pull back. And with that Bitcoin pullback, Mara has pulled back as well off the highs of 28 down to about $16 per share. So if Bitcoin finds support and rounds back out and retests those all-time highs, I think Mara could easily break $30 a share and head towards $40 or $50 a share. I mean, once this thing gets going, we can see if history repeats itself, pullback, and then you break out of that bull flag, pullback, breakout, boom, we're pulling back right now. If we could get a breakout out of this bull flag and head towards $30, $35 a share, it's off to the races. Remember, guys, we just don't want to be buying stocks based on the high short interest. We want the technical analysis and the chart setup to be there, and we want a change in the fundamentals. We can't just be chasing high short interest stocks because oftentimes they're heavily shorted for a reason. The companies are failing, people know this, and they short the stocks. So we need to be careful that this was awesome. AMC was awesome. We caught a nice trade in it. GameStop was awesome. BlackBerry was awesome, but we got to be careful. Sure, we want to take advantage of this opportunity and capitalize on these short squeezes, but we want to be careful not to chase any stock that has a high short interest. We want to match the fundamentals up, the change in fundamentals with the technical analysis and the high short interest to capitalize on stocks that have the highest probability of having a short squeeze. That's going to wrap this video up, guys. Hope you got something from it. If you did, hit the like button for me because it tells YouTube that these videos do provide value and helps them to promote the channel. I love you guys, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Until next time, peace.